In a calm little neighborhood where everyone knew each other, there lived a young girl named Hye-kyo. She was not the loudest, not the most popular, and not the richest. But she had something special, a heart full of dreams and eyes that were always watching, learning, and imagining. Every afternoon after school, while other children played outside, Hye-kyo would rush home, drop her bag, and sit quietly in front of the television. She didn't just watch movies for fun. She watched how actors smiled when they were happy, how their voices changed when they were sad, and how silence sometimes spoke louder than words. Sometimes she would stand in front of her small mirror and practice. She would whisper, "Hello, my name is Hye-kyo." Then change her face and say, "Why did you leave me?" Then smile again, pretending she was on a big stage with bright lights and cheering fans. But when the mirror stopped shining and real life returned, things were not always easy. Her family worked very hard, and money was often tight. After school, she helped with house chores, took care of younger kids in the neighborhood, and sometimes missed out on fun moments with friends. Still, she never complained. Deep inside, she believed that every small sacrifice was preparing her for something bigger. At school, Hye-kyo was quiet. Teachers said she was polite and respectful, but many classmates didn't notice her. She was the kind of girl people remembered only after she had left the room. But one day, everything began to change. The school announced a talent competition. Students could sing, dance, or act. Everyone was excited, but Hye-kyo was afraid. Her heart wanted to join, but her mind kept saying, "What if I fail? What if people laugh at me?" That night, she sat on her bed, holding the competition form. Her hands were shaking. She remembered all the times she practiced alone, all the emotions she acted out in front of the mirror. Finally, she took a deep breath and said, "If I don't try, I'll never know." She signed her name. On the day of the competition, the hall was full. Bright lights, loud voices, and nervous faces everywhere. When it was almost her turn, her legs felt weak. She thought about running away. But then she remembered her dream. She walked onto the stage. At first, her voice was small. But as she continued, something magical happened. She forgot about the audience. She forgot about fear. She became the character in her story, feeling joy, pain, hope, and love. The room became quiet. Even the judges leaned forward. When she finished, there was a short silence, then soft clapping, then louder applause. Hye-kyo didn't win first place. But something even more important happened. After the show, one of the teachers came to her and said, "You have real talent. But more than that, you have feeling. Don't let that go to waste." Those words stayed in her heart. That night, she stood outside looking at the stars. The wind was cool, and the world felt very big. But instead of feeling small, she felt strong. She whispered, "One day, people will know my name. I will keep trying, no matter how long it takes." And that was the night her true journey began. After that night under the stars, something changed inside Hye-kyo. She was still the same quiet girl, but now she carried a strong decision in her heart. From that day on, she took her dream more seriously. Every morning before school, she practiced reading stories out loud. She worked on her voice, trying to sound confident even when she felt shy. Sometimes she recorded herself on an old phone and listened again, fixing her mistakes. At school, she began joining drama activities whenever she could. Even if the role was small, a background character, a friend with only one line, she accepted it happily. Some students laughed and said, "Why are you trying so hard? It's just school drama." But Hye-kyo didn't listen. She knew that small steps still move you forward. One afternoon, after practice, she sat alone in the classroom. The sun was going down, painting the room with orange light. She felt tired, but also proud. She whispered to herself, "Maybe I'm not famous yet, but I'm closer than yesterday." At home, things were still difficult. Sometimes her parents worried about money, and sometimes Hye-kyo felt guilty for dreaming about acting when life felt so serious. But instead of giving up, she worked harder in school too. She wanted to prove that she could chase her dream and still be responsible. Late at night, when everyone was asleep, She would quietly watch interviews of actors on TV. She listened to their stories about rejection and failure. And she realized something important. Even the stars once stood exactly where she was standing now. One weekend, she heard about a small local audition. It was not for a big movie, just a short commercial. But to Hye-kyo, it felt like a giant door opening. She wanted to go, but fear returned. What if they say no again? What if I'm not good enough? She almost decided not to go. But then she remembered the teacher's words. She remembered the applause. She remembered the promise she made to herself under the stars. So she went. She waited in a long line with many other girls. Some were confident, some were nervous. When it was her turn, she bowed politely and gave her best performance. This time, she didn't think about winning. She only thought about telling the story with her heart. When she walked out of the room, she didn't know the result, but she felt proud. For the first time, she understood that bravery doesn't mean no fear. It means moving forward even when you are scared. That evening, she sat by her window again, watching the city lights. Her dream no longer felt impossible. It felt reachable. And somewhere out there, without her knowing, her future was already waiting for her. If you have a dream, protect it just like Hye-kyo did. Her story is just getting started. Subscribe and stay with us for the next episode.